All right, it's your boy, Powers, Adam Knitch, back again. Part two of this, I'm going to call it Radiohead in Review, basically. We're reviewing the first, well, basically, all the way up until Kid A Mnesia of Radiohead's albums, right? Kind of, in a way. If you listen to part one in May, then we went through Pablo Honey all the way through Kid A. Now we're picking up with Amnesiac. So, Adam Knitch. Amnesiac comes out a year after Kid A, 2001. This particular album, I don't really have any words about.
Yeah.
It's all right, so it's a song. It's an album where you. All right, so we talked about this in part one. So go revisit part one if you want to get our full like take on the first chunk of what we're calling the Radiohead aesthetic and this super album, whatever that is eventually Kid Amnesia. This, I feel like this album is, and to a certain extent, Hail to the Thief as well. This is just songs they didn't use for Kid A and OK Computer.
Yeah.
I think. Even though it was nominated for a Mercury Prize in 2001, which is kind of interesting, but they lost to PJ Harvey. Mercury Prize, for people who don't know, is like basically the top music prize in the UK, saying like this represents all of the UK music for the year. This is what it is. Yeah. Which is kind of interesting. But anyways, they I don't really have that many. This is, you know what, I said in part one of this review, I've listened to Pablo Honey the least. I want to change my my words on that, because I think this is my least listened to Radiohead album.
Definitely, but like as I'm looking at it, like the track list, I do recognize a couple songs and think like Knives Out is probably a standout.
Yeah, that Pyramid Song has always been like a favorite live song from what I've heard.
It does say though, like on like, so I'm looking at this bio from Apple Music, and it does say having bloomed from the same recording sessions as Kid A.
Okay.
So these songs are from that session.
Yeah, and we're building up to that for sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, unless you have anything else, I'm just gonna move on to Hail to the Thief, because I really don't have much about this album.
The only thing I'll add to it is like it does say, which is a true note, like especially on what song is it? I think it's all Knives Out, but a lot of these songs that like jazz flourishes more. Like I think that's like Johnny Greenwood's, like, you know, war, like, I mean, you know, gonna be like, you know, and like, you know, that's to keep talking about it, but like, you know, they're influenced with like electronic music and Flying Lotus and Thundercat and bands like that are like, you know, this weird like experimental jazz stuff, you know. I feel like they go hand in hand. Like Radiohead's inspired them, and they've, you know, inspired Radiohead.
No, 100%. It's I don't know, man. It's such a weird album.
Yeah,
there's just like weird shit on it. It's
and I don't know why, I just thought about this too, but like around this time, I know it was like, you know, Mars Volta is like a little bit after this maybe, but like they were kind of doing the same stuff, you know, like releasing a ton of just throwaway songs that like were like this weird, like, you know, let's play all like 20 instruments at once, you know.
Yeah. There's cool versions of this album. Like there's orchestra versions and whatnot, but like it's cool to check in on. But I wouldn't say this is anybody's. I mean, it's probably somebody's favorite Radiohead album, but it's not mine. You know,
no,
it's not mine. I don't really have any connection to it.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good. Go check it out. Also came out when I was fucking 14 years old. So anyway, moving on. So Amnesiac came out in 2001. We fast forward to 2003, Hail to the Thief. Okay. Hail to the Thief, 6th album, released on June 9th, Meg's birthday, 2003. And it's awesome. I think Hail to the Thief is awesome. You can see little inklings of what is going to be in Rainbows in this, with 2 + 2 = 5 lukewarm song, like sit down, stand up type of situation. Like they start kind of naming their shit a certain way. And this is just a cool album. It's pretty long. It's an hour long.
Yeah.
56 minutes. And it's just it's interesting. I don't think it hits the same as OK Computer or Kid A, but at the same time, you know, like we talked about earlier in part 1, go revisit it. All the way from the bends up until here, it's kind of one thing. Amnesiac and Hail to the Thief are kind of, you know, like we said, the excess of what Kid A and OK Computer were. They just didn't fit in those molds, because those are the highlights, you know.
Yeah.
These are kind of like, you can see the evolution, right? And like this, I don't really have too much to talk about, but I think it's a good album overall. It's worth checking out if you've never heard it. It's got, you know, go check it out, I think.
We'll say there too, like just the artwork on it too. I remember it, like it's, you know, if like it's always stands out for some reason.
Yeah. And they've been using the same artist since the Bends, which is kind of interesting. Oh no, since OK Computer, I think. Maybe the Bends. Maybe Kid. I don't know.
Well, we'll say as far as Radiohead albums go, though, I feel like that Hell to the Thief and Rainbows are the two ones that, like, you know, if people have that, they'll mess posters on their walls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. This is the one. This is a cool. I mean, it's a cool cover art.
And maybe like I said, maybe that is because, like, you know, like fans that are our age or even younger, or, you know, those are the albums that they got into, you know, more so than, you know, OK Computer and Kid A.
Yeah. So the artwork was created by Stanley Donwood. He's done a bunch of their art, I think, all the way back. He did Amnesiac. Oh God, it's loud. Yeah, he did Kid A. He did. I'm just double checking this because I thought so, but I'm double checking real quick. But I guess Stanley Donwood, he did basically all of the what you would call Radiohead art. You know, all of that shit that looks like it. And it's kind of interesting. I saw this video, what we're going to talk about in a little bit, but there's a video with Tom York and him talking about when Kid Amnesia came out. They did a little video. You can look at their YouTube, their YouTube's pretty dope. They keep releasing all these concerts they've done over time, including the one we're about to talk about. But it's you know, they did this little video about like the art that they were going to use, or what, you know, what the album was about, and it's very cool. I think they even released a book. With a Kid Amnesia. But anyway, that brings us to almost our finale. Oh fuck. I just closed down my tab for Hail to the Thief. It doesn't matter. So that brings us to 2006, and you're asking yourself, they didn't release anything in 2006. I know. So in June of 2006, me and your boy Adam right here decided to attend what is now Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival at Manchester, Tennessee, and Radiohead was a headliner. We've told the story about how we got to go to this many times, but recap it real quick. Me and Adam's mom paid for us to go to this festival as his senior trip, and the stipulation was he had to bring somebody and I had to drive, and that's what happened. So we sweated our asses off, just me and him, for a whole weekend in the fucking Tennessee heat, 2006, to see this band and a bunch of other shit, which is like insane. But while we're there, it's 2006. You can look up this concert, by the way. Radiohead headlines Saturday night, and we're waiting in this field. Like, well, I am. I think you went and saw other shit, but I was like, I'm just.
We stayed there. No, we stayed there like all day. We stayed there all day, like watching from like the time that like from 11 o'clock, I think, to 9 or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whenever they went on.
Mm-hmm. But
saw Aaron Neville.
We saw a bunch of people. Elvis Costello.
Yeah, we saw some like legends, dude. Yeah,
it was pretty good stage that day. But yeah, so we're there, and this is June 2007. Okay, and we didn't know, but this was going to be to date, I guess, at the time. I don't know if it still is, but Radiohead's longest show ever, and we were there. Yeah, it was interesting, but the show ended up being, I think, what, 3.5 hours, 3 hours, something like that.
I think it was like 2.5 or something.
I don't know, man. I think it's 3.
Definitely over 2.
Okay. Well, yeah. Oh, maybe I can look it up. I wonder if there is an actual like time.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah. Oh, there is. Okay. Oh, dude, this is kind of interesting. You can look up all sorts of people's like stuff from that year. Like I think their actuals like played, like what they played.
Their set list.
Yeah, this is pretty dope. Okay.
I mean, they've talked about it a lot, like as it being like one of their favorite shows.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to look it up real quick. I'm gonna see how long it is. Hey, Radiohead, Bonnaroo, 2006. Okay, so the YouTube version, you can watch it, is 2 hours and 19 minutes. I think, I don't know if that's the whole thing. They might have cut some shit out, but oh, there's all sorts of stuff on here. There's countless articles about this. It's crazy. Yeah. But anyways, go and check out the show if you want. The reason we're bringing this up is, so it's 2006, right? This is a year before In Rainbows is going to come out, almost. Well, 6 months. 6 months. In Rainbows comes out in October 2007. And it was recorded from February to June 2007. So that would lead me to believe February 2005 to June 2007. So that would lead me to believe that like maybe the last half of this was just like mastering or whatever. But so me and Adam are in this fucking field, roasting our asses off, and Radiohead comes on, and they ended up playing most of this album of In Rainbows, and we were like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. And people were freaking out. Like, it's from what I remember. They were like, oh my God, super fans of this motherfucker, Yeah. It was very cool. But what I was going to say is this is kind of like we were talking about that super album earlier, what Kid A Mnesia is going to be, and this is kind of where it cut off. I feel like Hail to the Thief is kind of like the end of what that is. You know, this is where they ended up being
Yeah.
what Radiohead is now, and this was like an album you could, they released themselves. You could pay whatever you wanted for it when it came out. You could also buy a physical, whatever.
Yeah, wasn't this this album was like the first, it was like pay what you can and download it. So it was like kind of like made that transition to like, the digital age of downloading music, when it was still like people were still buying CDs and stuff, pretty regularly, but not as much downloading music and people had iPods, but wasn't like you were listening to it on your phone or streaming. Spotify wasn't around really that much.
No. Plenty of people have been really pissed off about it. But people even like people like Jay-Z have said it's a genius move, and they're glad that Radiohead made this first move into digital releasing.
Yeah.
Because they set a tone. And that's why this one's pretty interesting, but it's not the same. It's not what we're about to talk about. Kid A Mnesia is those 4 albums, or 5, I guess, if you count. Yeah, it's 5. If you count the bands, but and I'm gonna count the bands, so it's 5. But yeah, in Rainbows, this is like a turning point to where Radiohead is what it is now. And I think it's very interesting to like, for a band that is, elusive and like, whatever, aloof or whatever. And they just like kind of cut it off, and they're like, this is what we're gonna do now. It's weird to do that, just in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, show is awesome. Go check it out on YouTube. It's really dope. You got any closing thoughts before we talk about our headlining act of album?
I mean, just that, like, that's what was so interesting too, is like, like kind of like being a fan of Radiohead, of what they are, not necessarily like, like I was never like been like, oh man, I'm gonna sit down and listen to like all these Radiohead albums. Like I would hear like stuff here and there, I'd be like, yeah, this is good. But then seeing them live and like their presence and like just the ability to play for 2.5 hours, and I mean they never really took a break and start like doing dialogue or like it was just like they just kept going with it. And that's what was interesting too, and seeing like hearing stuff that like this sounds nothing like what I'm familiar with, and that's why I was like, well, what is going on? Like this is way better. And that made me a bigger fan. I think did a lot for other people too.
I mean,
it was it's like they definitely reinvented themselves with that album and that performance.
I think that particular show, I mean, this might be a hot take, it might not be, but I think that particular show is a turning point in their whole career. Of like what this, I think we were a test bed like that.
That's what was interesting too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely what happened. It was like there was a test, or like just like a, oh crap, this should be the the performance that we play, because it is like a festival. People aren't gonna really remember it as much as like you paying to see them at like a venue.
Yeah, it's and I feel like there were when they released it, everyone was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Oh fuck, sorry, the burp. Currently it sits at 387 from the 2020 list of greatest albums of all time. Go check it out. I think that's pretty low for this, honestly. But should be in the 200s, I think. But anyways, this is where they changed course, and this is where we are going to change course, because we're flipping back. Kid A Mnesia. So 2007, keep in mind. And then November 5th, 2021, just last year, my man Adam. This is a very interesting thing that I did not see coming, honestly. This is a 2-hour album, 128 minutes, 1 second. It is so Kid A Mnesia, Radiohead, November 5th, 2021. It's funny. It says it was recorded from January 1999 to April 2000. That's not true. But this is what the Wikipedia for this says. It's a reissue of the albums Kid A, Amnesiac, and Amnesiac by Radiohead. It includes a bonus disc called Kid Amnesia, comprising previously unreleased materials. It was released on blah 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 blah. It also has a visual component. You can do there's like a visual thing that they released for gaming consoles that you can go and check out. But this is what I would say. So there's like 4 parts of it, right? It's Kid A, Amnesia, Kid Amnesia, and then cassette 2, what they say. And if you look at it though, it's literally the bends through Hail to the Thief. So it's these 5 albums, like kind of chopped and screwed, I'd say. They're different versions or whatever, but this is the peak of what we've been talking about for these last 2 episodes of this this super album, this ultimate album. And I feel like it's crazy, dude. I can't think of a single other group that has done something like this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of,
I mean, but going back to it too, like, I mean, I kind of like, I don't know why I want to say that, like, at the drive-in at Mars Volta, like they kind of, at the drive-in necessarily, like they kind of did the same thing. Like they took 2 albums that they had and kind of mashed together. I mean, bands have done this before, and it's like, I mean, I dig it, but at the same time, it's like, again, I don't think I'm a big enough Radiohead fan to truly appreciate this, 2 hours of throwaway songs.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's dude. That's no, I get that.
And that's kind of how I feel about most bands. It's like if they're throwaway songs, it's like I'm not really interested.
Yeah, I mean, the first section of this is really good though. It's the Kid A section of it. But I think the thing that really piqued my interest on this, because I remember seeing the 2-hour play mark on this, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like 2 hours, really?
Yeah.
But the thing that really piqued my interest about it was what we were talking about in part 1 of this, and it was the idea that there was this weird conspiracy that all of these albums were one thing,
Yeah.
And if you put them in a certain order, then they would be one ultimate album.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I think it's weird that a band, fucking 20 years later, would confirm that, like, oh yeah, no, this is all the same. This is all the same session. We sat in a studio for 5 years and we made this. Like, this is what it was. I don't think that's ever happened before. I mean, I'm probably wrong, but I think that's why I wanted to highlight this album for Dropping the Needle, because I think I wouldn't even necessarily say it's as good as any of the albums that we've talked about before, but I think this is a very unique album that, if you have ever been curious about Radiohead, go and check it out. It's and listen to the whole thing. Listen to it with like can headphones too. Don't do some put it on the background shit. Because
Yeah.
you're gonna hear some stuff that you wouldn't hear, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna. There's a again, if you're in the Apple Music bio of it, it says at one point that the producer Neil Gorge split the band into two different groups, one working with instruments in the main recording area, the other in a programming room processing sounds from next door, all under the condition that they would use no acoustic instruments.
Okay,
That's crazy. So
that's
they were
crazy.
trying to go for true, like, authentic electronic, producing.
Yeah, it's really weird, and it's funny that you say that. That same
And also,
thing.
like, not to get too sidetracked with it, but also like Tom York, doing all this it's solo stuff in between in Rainbows and this, because like I always thought that, well, I guess, I mean, I guess we're jumping too ahead too, because they did come out with the moon shape pool that we kind of skipped over
Yeah,
in
yeah.
2016. But like, I feel like that was more so that's like, a Tom York album backed by Radiohead.
Oh,
But
Moonshade Pool.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why we're doing these five, because
Yeah.
it's
But anyways,
this.
what I was gonna say is that, sorry not to interrupt you, but that Tom York's, solo projects and like him getting more into like the electronic, like dance style of, music, that him coming back to this makes me think like he's like, oh, like it's piques his interest because were all these songs that recorded under, electronic instruments and stuff, that he was more interested in going that route,
Yeah,
So I felt like too, it was like, the like you said, the compilation of, what happened and what he did in his early career to what he did now. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Is that all encompassing like different decades of, progression of Radiohead?
It's weird. You're right. I feel like it's like you can cut Radiohead's career in three parts. You have Pablo Honey, right? That's one. That's just one. Then you have this Kid Amnesia period, which is the bends through Hail to the Thief. Then you have In Rainbows all the way through the solo stuff with Tom York and Johnny Greenwood stuff, like composing and whatnot. And that is the third section. And that kind of like, it kind of like peaks at Moonshade Pool.
Yeah.
But for them to revisit this and actually acknowledge that this is a chunk of their career and like kind of reissue it as a whole different thing, I think it's very unique. And I think that's why I picked it. That's why I wanted to do this one. Yeah. It's so weird. It's too long.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's dope. I like it. So
yeah. Well, the thing is, they know their fans are gonna, be into anything they release. So they're like, okay,
yeah.
That's all. But like, they're not afraid to, like, even if they know, like, I mean, there's definitely songs on here that they know they're like, this probably is not that good,
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, this is rad, like, I'm glad that they're doing this. But yeah, man, I don't know, like, that's the reason I wanted to highlight this. I don't know how long. I mean, do you have anything else to say about this one?
I mean, not really. I mean, it is, like you said, it is cool to see, I guess they like, it's kind of like, I get it's like kind of summing up their career. And that's what is interesting too, I guess, to say is that like, it's, I wonder if this is like the, like, hey, we're releasing this to kind of that's a wrap on our career
Maybe.
as a band.
I don't know. Like, who's to say, because this did come a few years after Moonshade Pool, but
yeah. But I mean, they've also all, there's three of them that have all been kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah. Johnny's been doing scores for
then,
music
then too, they have I think it's like Tom York and a couple other I forgot what band it is, but they have like a super group formed.
Yeah.
It's called, I forgot what the name of it is, but
I don't know. But
it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, go and check it out. I think, yeah, man, that the whole point of bringing this one up is just like, go and check it out. It's very, very long, very weird. If you're ever into Radiohead at all, then this is like kind of the thing you should probably check out,
Yeah.
Because it's like anybody that goes back to their like old catalog or whatever and reissues anything is a fan of, or like acknowledges like this is the highlight of what we've done,
Yeah.
So that's the reason we brought this up. That's the reason that we want to talk about it. I'm trying to figure out. You're talking about Atoms for Peace? That band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I know?
Are you talking about Atoms for Peace or The Smile?
No. It's The Smile. That's like the newest thing that they got going.
Okay.
Atoms for Peace is like, I mean, that's like the one thing that was like that like turned me off on Radiohead, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That The Smile. So go and check that out. That's Johnny Greenwood, a jazz drummer named Tom Skinner, and Tom York.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, I'm actually gonna go check that out. I don't think I've.
It's pretty good, dude.
Yeah.
They only have like a song or two out, I think, but
No, it's an album, dude. There's an album called "A Light for Attracting Attention."
Oh wow.
Came out 2 months ago.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Definitely something on that one. I mean, I knew that there was like a song, like a single, but I didn't know. Yeah, they released.
I didn't know this was out. I don't think I. Oh yeah, this is the 13 song.
Yeah. Nice. Check it out too.
All right. Cool. So, anyways, that's our thoughts on all of this. Basically, our Radiohead super 2-part episode. I hope you liked it. I hope you like dropping the needle. If you do, go ahead and subscribe to all the things Quick Sixer does on the YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on blah blah blah. Or even on fucking what? I don't know. We're on all sorts of shit, dude. I'm shit. So much shit. Just go ahead and check it out, and subscribe if you like it. And go and drink from your local brewery, especially ones that have glasses as big as your head. Yeah. Anyways, Adam, you got anything to say about this before we're out?
I think we all covered it. It's been a long one.
It's been a long one. 2-parter. So it's your boys. Go and check us out. Quick Six Podcast on Instagram. It's your boys, Pat R7 Knitch. Who's dropping the needle?